hello, hello. Welcome back to At the Table with D. Monique. I'm your host, D. Monique, and our special guest today is Mr. Ron Lampkin. Hey, Ron.
Hey, how's everybody out there?
I'm sure they are doing well. So, um, as always, I want to thank you all for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate all the comments. I appreciate you sharing it as well as the likes. So please continue to do that. You guys know that before we get into any good conversation, we always have to have snack time. For the listeners, if just in case this is their first time, we always open with snack time. And so if you don't have a snack, I want you to take a moment, go get you a snack, and then come back. Before we have snack time, you guys know we have to start off with my great grandmother Lucille's prayer because before we eat any food, we always have to give God thanks. So, Ron, if you would please join me, bow your head and close your eyes, and I'll say a quick prayer. So, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this food that we're about to receive. We ask you to let it bring nourishment to our bodies. We thank you for this and all other blessings in your Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So, Ron, you are our guest. What are you snacking on today?
I have Belvita breakfast biscuits. It's one of my favorite snacks. I eat them all day, so as you can see, it's really not breakfast for me. It's more of my everyday, all day snack. So much that I actually keep a big box of them to make sure I don't run out.
You are serious about those Belvitas.
Yes, I am. My favorite snack. The blueberry now, not no other flavor. It has to be the blueberry.
Okay, so you haven't tried the cinnamon.
No, only blueberry.
Okay, so I have tried those Belvitas, and when I was in college, that was one of the things I would put in my backpack, as a little snack. So yes, those are good. And Ron, we eat on this podcast, so if you want to open up your Belvita and take a bite and let our audience know how it tastes, you are welcome. And it looks like you may have some coffee there.
Yes, I always have my morning coffee. Can't go without that. Good start to the day.
Do you make your own coffee?
Yes, I actually use K cups, and this is my brand right here. This is
Okay.
Giver Columbia, and I get these from Sam's.
Okay, I saw you got that Belvita from Sam's too, because that was a
Yes,
huge box.
exactly. Sam's shopper.
So, in your coffee, do you put creamer or
No
do you put
creamer. I
anything in
like
it?
my coffee dark. It's just straight black, and so, with a little honey.
Oh, okay. Now, I've never heard of anybody adding honey to their coffee, but then again, I'm not a coffee drinker, so
More of a natural sweetener. So.
yeah, yeah, that's good. So, I'll tell you guys what I am having. It may not be as healthy as Ron as Ron's snack, but I have these onion rings. And the reason I chose this is because I was about to eat them for dinner last night. And then I looked at the time and I was like, ugh, it's a little late to eat these, right? So they were already cooked. And the brand that I like is this brand called Alexia. Ron, I think you might know this, but I am vegan,
Right.
right? And so some of the other brands that are out there, though I'm sure they're really tasty, they use milk in their batter as well as eggs.
Gotcha.
Um, and then some of the other ingredients, even if someone isn't vegan, some of these companies are putting some really nasty uh, ingredients in their potatoes and onion rings. So I would caution you guys to read your food labels. I won't go into it because that's not what today's podcast is about, but please yeah, read those food labels. So I'm having my onion rings and I'm also having a shot. A shot of ginger sea moss.
Sound
So
good.
it's not It's not alcohol. And as you guys can hear, I am a little bit under the weather. So that's why my voice sounds like this. So I'm going to go ahead and take my shot of this ginger sea moss drink. And yeah, we'll get started.
Okay, bottoms up.
Mm, that was good. Ooh, it's ginger and pineapple. So let me tell you guys a little bit about our guest. His name is Ron Lampkin. He has been the Augusta and Richmond County Central Services Director for over a year. He strives to give not only the county employees, but also the citizens of Augusta Richmond County the best experience whenever they enter any county owned businesses as well as facilities. Prior to this role, he served as the capital projects manager and as the traffic operations manager for Augusta Richmond County. Ron is a educated brother. He has a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from South Carolina State University, and he also holds several certifications. One of those in the public administration for the Carl Vinson Institute of Government from the University of Georgia. He is also a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated. Some of the things Ron enjoys is traveling and watching football. We'll talk about that in a second. he hopes he hopes to one day own an RV and travel around the country to see his favorite team, which is the Dallas Cowboys.
That is correct. Go Cowboys.
Listen, we're not gonna give Ron a hard time about his choice of football teams.
Ah,
Um, but let me tell you the reason I invited Ron here today is because he is a single father to a very intelligent and beautiful young lady by the name of Amari. And Amari will be graduating from high school this year.
that is correct. May 25th.
Yes, May 25th. So, this episode is being recorded, before her graduation, and I want to feature Ron right before Father's Day because a lot of times I think we always highlight mothers, especially single mothers, but Ron is a single father and he's doing great. Like you guys can look at him. He's such a bubbly guy, has a nice smile, and he has a nice personality. So I wanted to invite him over to talk to us about his experience being a single father. And hopefully, if there's a single father out there, you're listening, maybe he can offer you some words of encouragement during this time of your life. So, Ron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. I cannot complain. Life is great. It's a beautiful day outside. Work is great. Everything's going good. Cannot complain. Just happy to be on this side of the dirt.
Amen. Yeah. So, Ron, I know that you work for the Augusta Richmond County. Are you from Augusta?
Yes, I am born and raised.
Okay. And so I assume you went to high school here as well?
Yes, I did. I went to
Uh huh.
Butler High School, is where I graduated from, 1995. Go Bulldogs.
1995. Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I am the oldest of three. I have two brothers. My mom had all boys. So I have two brothers.
Okay. And do they live in Augusta as well?
No, both of them live in the Atlanta area. So both of them are in Atlanta. They went to school, got out of school, and never came back to Augusta.
Yeah. So, what made you move back home after graduating?
Well, when I graduated from college, around that time is when, engineering jobs were far and few between at the time because you had so many people out in the market and being fresh out of school, most companies was looking for people with experience. So I ended up coming back home and I actually started teaching. So my first job out of college was a teaching job. So I taught elementary school. Go figure.
Really?
Yes.
How long?
I taught school for about 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Right. So I taught
It,
third grade. From third grade, I moved to teaching fourth grade, and then at that point, I did middle school, eighth grade.
okay. So when you left teaching, was that I know it probably wasn't a uh too much of a difficult decision because you were going into your career field, but how was that emotionally leaving the kids?
It was a tough decision for me because of the impact that you tend to make on kids, and you get to
Hmm.
know them, and so it was hard, but financially, it was the right thing to do.
I
But
understand.
I did keep a bond with the school, so um, because I had been at the school for a while in the middle school area, they had a football team, so I did go back and coach and help coach the football team. So I didn't just break ties with the school system altogether. I still had some ties to it in coaching football for the middle school.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
So, what was your relationship with your parents when you were growing up?
Oh, we had a great relationship with our parents. It was of course, I grew up in a two-parent household. My dad was an Army Reserve after active duty. My mom, believe it or not, was an educator, so she taught in the school system here in Richmond County for a while, and then she went to work for Augusta Housing Authority over their daycare program. So she was the director over their daycare program for years. So growing up with my parents, it was, they stress education and going to school. And if not, then when you turn 18 and you graduate, it's either school or job, pick one. So, of course, all three of us chose school because we weren't really trying to work too hard.
That's hilarious. So, as I said, you're here to talk to us about being a single father. So, I want to know what led to you becoming a single dad.
So I was married for, well, when she passed, 13 years. So my daughter's mother, my
Mhm.
wife at the time, passed. She had a massive stroke. Um,
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
right. So that was 2017, and that is when I became a single parent. So it was something that she dealt with for a while. She actually had a kidney and pancreas transplant in 2007. So she was a childhood diabetic, so which led to high blood pressure and kidney failure and those things. So throughout the years, battling with that, she ended up, like I said, she ended up having a transplant in 2007, which helped her out tremendously. Around 2017, 10 years after the transplant, everything started failing again. She had a couple of strokes in between. It's been several times she ended up in ICU, so we thought we would have lost her sooner, but thank, the Lord that we didn't. But I guess she was kind of tired, and the fight was getting hard and long. The medications, the doctor's visits. And she kind of told me, she was like, hey, I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of taking all these medicines. So I kind of knew that when the next big thing happened that we might lose her. So it was tough, but being unselfish, you kind of have to, because I wasn't it wasn't me going through it. I just had to be the caregiver. So I kind of understood him. So like I said, her health started failing. She ended up having a massive stroke, and then she just never recovered from it.
So I'll say this: I had no idea, and n- when I reflect on when I met you, that's around the time that I met you
Right,
at the gym.
right.
Yeah, and because I know you are always in the gym. Is that why you go to keep yourself healthy, or is it something you were already doing? Was that one of the ways
Well,
you grieved?
well, I actually was going to the gym before. So
Hmm.
what happened is, okay, so everybody, a lot of people know I go to Gracie Elite Fitness. So and
Mm-hmm.
Bernard went to high school. We went to the same high school. So I ran
Mm-hmm.
into him at the gas station one day, and I was like, at that time I was about 315, 320 pounds. And I was like, hey man, I see what you're doing. I need to come to the gym. So this was about a year, maybe a year and a half prior to her passing. So I joined. He said, "Come see me." So I went and joined the gym. But one, I was trying to get healthier because I was trying to take care of her, and we had a kid that needed to be. And I was like, well, both of us can't be sick, and I can't have my health because I'm obese. So, and that's how I started going to the gym.
Okay. So how old was Amari then?
She was 12 at the time.
Hmm. And did she understand everything that was going on with her mom?
Yeah, she did.
You know, as
We
much as a 12-year-old.
Right. We never hid anything from her. She always
Mm-hmm.
knew what was going on, and it was in preparation of what could happen. And so we always let her in. And of course, she was in the house, so she knew the nights that her mom was suffering and the different hospital visits, because we may have been at one point down the last couple of years, she was probably in the hospital 3, 4 times a year, maybe.
Okay.
And we always share stories because, especially going back to when Amari was born in 2004, we started keeping an album then because of the situation that even her being able to give birth, they said that was never going to be possible. So the fact that
Hmm.
Amari is here was a blessing in itself, because she always was told she couldn't bear a child. And then when we found out she was pregnant, her doctors was like, "Hey, if you ever want to do this, we're gonna try to get you through it." But and they did, and I'm appreciative of all the doctors that she had at AU, because they did a wonderful job. And it was like touch and go for a second with both Amari and her mother, because of all her health conditions. Amari ended up coming 3 months early. So when Amari was born, she was only about 1 pound 4 ounces.
Okay.
So it was rough
Yeah.
going. So when that happened in 2004, I had Mama around the corner in the hospital in one room, and Amari around the corner in the NICU. So I was running. I was running. But
Yeah.
it
I
was
can.
all a blessing. All a blessing.
Yeah, definitely, and very very well worth the risk.
Right.
Yeah. Um. So, do you think that there is a lot of support for single dads?
Not really, because you don't hear about it often. So when you called me with the
Mhm.
opportunity, I said, "Oh, you know what? That's great that somebody's recognizing that it is some single fathers out here, and it's quite a few." But we just don't see that much because, like you said, the mothers tend to get put in the spotlight more than a single dads. But it's a few of us out here.
Okay. Do you have a community of maybe some friends who are single dads that you can talk to?
No, I don't.
Mhm.
And because of this, because of my situation, I have met a couple of people, not necessarily say friends, but through mutual friends that say, "Hey, I got a friend who just lost his wife, or has become a single parent, and maybe you could talk to him." And I'm like, "Okay, just give my number." Cause so I've talked to 2 or 3 different people who's been through situations similar to mine, and
Mhm.
gave them some encouraging words. But a lot of times, like you say, we kind of fall to the wayside because men are not uplifted, and then sometimes it's hard for men to express emotions or share their feelings. So I know, I just, hey, this is what I went through. This is how I handle it, and then kind of just pass it along. And if you, anytime somebody wants to reach out, I kind of like, hey, just give me a call. We could talk about it. Because me personally, I don't mind, not at all.
That's good to know. Excuse me, because I don't think it's just a guy thing, but I think in general, a lot of times people don't want to um, express themselves.
Right.
Did you and Amari get any counseling after your wife's passing?
I immediately put her in counseling. Um,
Hmm.
Me personally, I didn't do any counseling per se, but I knew after having conversations with her and making sure that that was something she wanted to do, she agreed, and she did some counseling. But for me, um, it wasn't necessary. Like I told people,
Hmm.
like my therapy came before the passing. So
Hmm.
it was more of once it happened, I was so prepared because she did a lot coming up to her death. And I guess people see it and they kind of know it. You don't believe it till you go through it. She planned everything out all the way up to her funeral. And then what she wanted for Amari, and so I assured her that, hey, if this is what is has to happen, of course you don't want to hear those things when she's saying, hey, I can't do this anymore. But she was like, I want this person to sing at my funeral. I want this person to pray for my funeral. I want this. So it was all laid out. And so all I had to do was, and so during those months coming up to her passing, it was like, it was hard for me. And I kind of, vented and did what I had to do then. And so when she passed, I was like, okay, I'm ready for this because she's prepared me.
Yeah. Do you have a support system of family and friends?
Oh yes, definitely. I could not do this by myself. Trust me. My
Yeah.
parents, her other grandparents, her mom's parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, whatever I've needed, they've been there. They've supported her as far as coming to her games, school functions. If she needs a ride because I can't be there, so everybody has really chipped in. They say it takes a village, and I've definitely had a village to help out in every situation.
That's awesome to know. Now, I'll tell you one thing that I've noticed. There is a lot of videos on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok of dads doing their daughter's hair. Right?
Right.
Have you, you said your daughter was 12. So did you have to do her hair or did someone in your support system help you out?
Well, it's been times where I had to do it, but once again, I was prepared. Her mom prepared me. Hey, come over here, watch what I'm doing, and I learned. And so when she passed
Uh
away,
huh.
and especially with her being in dance, so at the time she was in dance, she was in competition dance, and she had to have her hair a certain way. And now I'm traveling with her to these dance competitions, so I had to do her hair. I had to do her makeup. And so I watched her mom do it over the years, and she taught me what needed to be done. I was putting her eyelashes on. I was doing all of that. So it worked out good. But if I couldn't, she has a hairstylist that she had been going to, her and her mom actually before her mom passed. Always been around and she's always been helpful and say, hey, if you need me, just give me a call, whatever she needs. I'll come to your house, I'll come wherever she is, and we'll get it done. So, like I said, I've had a big support system, and it's been wonderful. I cannot stress that enough.
Oh, that's awesome. The fact that you said you're doing her hair, you put no lashes, Ron. You sure you don't want to open up your own beauty beauty
I
center?
could, and people didn't believe me, so I actually did. One of her dance competitions that she was getting ready for, and we was in the bathroom. I actually put a video on my Facebook page of me doing her hair and makeup and stuff. It was like, yeah, see, I could do this. I could do a little
You know
bit.
what, Ron? Now that you say that, I think I do remember it was a couple years ago.
Right, a few years back, yeah.
Yes, I do remember. Yeah. I think that's so awesome. So one of the subjects that always comes up, again, I apologize for my voice. One of the subjects that always comes up on this podcast is faith. And so I want to know, does faith play a role in your life?
Oh, definitely. That's the driving force. We are a member of Good Shepherd Baptist Church. Our pastor's Reverend Moore on Olive Road, and I've been a member there since I came out of the womb. So we definitely pray a lot. I've taught her that prayer changes things and it moves mountains, and so that's always been what her mom taught her, what I taught her, and we don't leave the house every morning. We say a prayer together, and we've done that ever since she's been in school. So every morning before we get in the car to take her to school, if it's in the car with her mom, if it's in the car with all three of us, if it's just me and her, we always say a prayer before we pull it out of the driveway or the garage and say, "Hey, this is what we got to do every day." So we've taught her that this is how it is, and even going through what we went through with her mom. My pastor was there. I've met with him several times. I've had her sit down and talk with him just to keep that faith and understand what we were going through.
I think that is such a good thing that you taught your daughter to every time she leaves the house to pray. Um, Especially during these times, because I know for parents sometimes it can be scary sending your kids off to school. Um, Not only because there are school shootings going on, but you just never know what your child is going to be exposed to when they are out of your sight. And so to put that covering over them before they leave, it's just that um, extra protection,
Right,
you know.
exactly.
Yeah, in addition to the lessons that you have taught them, right? So
Right.
I love that. I love that you guys do that. I would like to know, what are some ways that you and Amari spend quality time together?
Um, we do a lot of watching TV,
Mhm.
watching movies, going to dinner because we love to eat. So it's always a
Mhm.
thing for us to go sit down. Hey, let's pick a restaurant, go sit down and have dinner together. And of course, she's so busy and so active. We spend a lot of time just being a part of her activities. If it's not cheering, it was dance. It's some kind of school function because she's always a part of some. So I spend a lot of time with her at her schools.
Yeah.
Right.
I figured that. Excuse me. I figured you are really involved. So you, like you already told us that you do her hair and the makeup for dance. Um, are there any other ways that you're involved in her activity? Are you the dad there with the sign, or you got your pom poms while she's cheering?
Yes, I am definitely one her biggest cheerleader, definitely, and whatever it takes. Sometimes you're like, "Dad, stop! You're embarrassing me," but nah, I come to support. And if I miss a game or miss a function, everybody's looking for me. It's like, oh, that's. 'Cause I think it was one time this year I had a conference I had to go to, so I missed the game. And when I came back to the second game, everybody was like, "Oh, there you go. We was worried because you missed the game last weekend." That's unusual because I'm always present. I'm always there, making sure that she knows that it's somebody gonna be there to support her. And if I'm not there, once again, the village always shows up. So I knew I wasn't gonna be there, so I called everybody. Hey, I got to be out of town. She got a game Tuesday, and I had like 10 people at the game. So instead of one of me, it was 10 others. So I mean, she's always had
Yeah,
that support.
that's so awesome. Especially you put a call out saying, "Hey, I'm not going to be here." You had not one, not two, but 10
Right?
people
Yeah.
show up. Yeah, you have a wonderful village. Mm. Now, as you said, you are a foodie, right? You like to eat,
Oh,
but I
definitely.
want to know. I've seen your Facebook pictures when you go out to eat, and your food always looks good.
I'm always looking for a
But
good restaurant. Always.
do you and Amari cook at home, or do you cook for Amari?
Yeah, we do. I do cook sometimes. Mostly on the weekends, because like I said, our schedules during the week are very hectic, so it's hard to
Hmm.
get a good meal. Oh, but on Saturdays and Sundays, she's always like, "Hey, can you cook? Can you cook? Can you cook? Okay, I'll cook today, or I'll cook tomorrow." So yeah, we definitely cook at home for sure.
Is there a particular meal that she likes for you to prepare?
She likes lamb chops, so I started that. I shouldn't have, but she likes it when I cook lamb chops, so that's one of her favorites. She's like, "Can you just fix some lamb chops today?" And I was like, "Okay." And so I usually do the lamb chops and then maybe a couple of sides. So that's her favorite dish at this point.
Okay, how do you prepare your lamb chops?
Just season them up really good and do them like a medium well, and make sure they're nice and tender. I like to get my meat from Publix, so um, it's not much to it. It's the way you cook them, and because you don't want to cook them too long and they get tough. So she enjoys them, so I guess I'm doing pretty good.
Yes. Now, like I said, I'm vegan, right?
Mhm.
I don't excuse me. I'm vegan, but I wasn't always vegan, okay?
Mhm.
And so I like to talk about food. And I will tell you the second best, because the first best lamb chops I ever had when I was in Turkey. But the second best lamb chops was when I went to the Food and Wine Festival at Disney World. And they grilled their lamb chops. They put a pesto sauce on top, and then they take a Lay's potato chip and crumble it and like just, you know,
Mhm.
put it on top. So maybe that might be something you
Yeah,
can
I
try.
might try that then. That don't sound bad. We actually just went. One of our dinner dates last week was to Longhorns because they bought lamb
Hmm.
chops back to the menu, and she was like, "Hey, let's go try them out." And she actually liked those. They were pretty good. She said they ain't yours, but they good. I was like, "All right, I feel good. I feel good." Because sometimes I
um,
like to put mine on the grill. Sometimes depends, like if she wanted during the week, so it's something quick. I put them in the air fryer. They work good in there as well. So
okay. Um, so I know that you love the Dallas Cowboys,
definitely,
and
definitely.
I know you show your love for them, you know, going to the
Is
games,
there
and I
any
know you
other
love
team? Is there any other team? I don't think there's any other team.
ah Ron, we not going there, Ron. We're not going there, Ron. But like I said, I know you love them and I know you love Amari. What are some ways? I know you spend time together, but what are some other ways that you express your love for Amari?
um, every morning I let her know before I leave the house that she's beautiful and I love her, and just keep encouraging her. Hey, you're beautiful. Hey, whatever you want to do in life, you can succeed. And I always try to give her some encouraging words, regardless of the day of the week or the time of the day. Even if she's sleep in the morning, I wake her up like, hey, I'll get ready to leave, but hey, just know, hey, it's gonna be a great day. You're beautiful. Hey, remember, I love you. I'll see you later. Have a great day. And, always giving her encouraging words to let her know that she has my support and that no matter what anybody else says, that, hey, I'm here.
That's awesome. Why is that so important for you to do for her?
Um, because these days you have so many, and if you look, especially young girls who don't get those encouraging words and they fall by the wayside. And so I just want her to, or they get caught up in like today and it's big. It was on the news the other day, how sex trafficking is so big in Augusta, and like I don't want her to have that low self esteem and some guy can just talk to her, manipulate her into something. So I have to let her know that, hey, you're beautiful. Don't let anybody tell you different. Hey, you're bigger than what you think you are. You're gonna be something great one day. So that way she knows that, hey, nobody can tell me anything different what my daddy's telling me. Nobody, like, I know these things, so you can't manipulate me. You can't talk. I'm not convinced because I have that self esteem that my daddy has, put into me. So I don't need those things. So just to let her know, hey, when you go out in the world, that people gonna tell you a lot of stuff, but remember, who you are and what you are.
That's awesome. I think that's really important because, like you said, um, there's a lot of sex trafficking going on all over the world, and it seems like it's just gotten worse in the last 20 years,
Right,
you know. And before, you really didn't hear too much about it in the US. It was like something that happened more outside of the country,
right,
right? But now, I mean, these sex traffickers, they're so bold.
exactly. And like I said, it was a
Yeah.
report on the news the other day. Um, Ironically, in Georgia, Augusta is has the highest rate of sex trafficking.
That's very surprising
Right.
because we're right next door to
Yeah,
Atlanta,
right. And that's what you would
which
think.
is a bigger,
Right.
yeah, because it's bigger city, not like we want it to be, but just because they have a larger
Population.
population.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. Well, I am I'm glad you informed me about that statistics, not of the statistics, but that you have informed me, because a lot of time I will shy away from the news sometimes
Right.
because it's just so much gloom. And
Definitely.
yeah, and I mean, we have already so much going on in our own lives. So to hear everything that's going on around the world, it's like, ugh, it's too much. It's too much. Um, so you are a girl dad, right?
Yes, definitely.
And there are some issues that women experience that men don't.
It's true indeed.
So, so when it comes to those topics, I mean, you did say your wife prepared you for a lot of things. Is that one of the things that she prepared you on how to talk to your daughter
Of
about
course,
women
yes.
issues?
Of course, of course. Uh, in that relationship that we have built, we talk about everything. Now don't get me wrong, in the beginning it was kind of uncomfortable for me. Even from the time that she got her first cycle and she's like, "Hey, I need this, I need that." Then I gotta go in the store and I'm like, yeah, can I help you with something?" She told me to come get these. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, so it was like one of those things, but now it's like, okay, whatever. I'm in there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it took some
yeah,
it took
and
some getting used to. So, but
so for some of the dads that are out there now, you can use apps. You can go on your favorite store app and order it. So maybe if you don't want to have that, excuse me, if you don't want to have that awkward moment in the store, maybe you can do a click and pick up.
yeah. Now, see, now I'm in the store. I'm buying all kind of feminine products,
Hmm.
scrubs and wipes, and I'm like, all right, well, that's what you need. And then like most people, it's funny. It's like, hey, you come here, you don't have it. You like, how many dads come here and be looking awkward and feel like, yeah, I've been doing it so long, it don't even bother me. It's just a part of the routine now.
Yeah. So all parents, sometimes need a break, right? I know Amari is not small. She's a teenager now, but when she was a little bit younger, were you able to take a break? And who helped you when you needed that time to just like have Ron time?
Oh, it was easy for me because, like I said, we had a village. So, I mean, even when her mom was alive, we always had people who were like, "Hey, can Amari come over this weekend? Hey, we'll get her. We want to do some things with like her grandparents, both sets of grandparents. They always, wanted her. So it's like we'll get her this weekend because we going here. We want to take her, and so nothing changed after her mom passed. So even if I didn't want her going anywhere, it was always, "Hey, Dad, my grandma and granddaddy said they wanted to do this, so I'm going over their house for the weekend. I'll be back." Or, "Hey, Dad, my grandparents picking me up, or my aunt picking me up, or hey, I'm going over one of my cousin's house. She has a daughter close in age. It's like, hey, we're gonna go spend the night at my other aunt's house, and we'll be there for the weekend if you need something." So it's I've always had time because of the village.
Okay. So I know you like going out to eat and watching sports. What are some other things you do when it's just taking some time for yourself?
One of my things to do where I can just get out and enjoy some fresh air is playing golf. Even though I'm not good at it, it's just something to get away. And it's like when you're out on the golf course, it kind of takes you away from the world. You put the phones down. It's a nice day outside, catch the breeze, just get some time to yourself. And me and my dad go out sometime. Me and my dad and my uncle. Then I got a few coworkers that I play golf with. So it's just a time for me to relax and kind of enjoy the day for 4 or 5 hours on the golf course.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, yeah, you play 18 holes. It take you about 4 hours, and in between time, taking a break, catching, a couple of drinks or whatever, and just enjoying the day.
Okay. My golf experience is limited to putt putt.
Hey,
I don't know if they still have putt putt.
yes,
I
they
know they
do.
have
It's still around. It's still around.
what's the new one, Ron? Um oh, what do they call it? There's one here. It's not called putt putt, but you can go and play golf. Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh man, I hate that I can't remember the name. Maybe it'll come to me,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'll let you know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So, what are some things you've learned about yourself over the years with just you and Amari?
Um, I've learned that I'm definitely stronger than I thought I was. And that I'm able to persevere and get over hurdles, and that's something you learn a lot about yourself when you go through a lot, and
Hmm.
that's what happened with me. I learned a lot about myself. I learned that, hey, there's nothing you can't do. And because at first I'm like, hey, being a single dad and you got a daughter, like, I'm like, if I had a son, this would be much easier. And I was like, but you learn a lot about yourself, and like I said, you learn a lot about people, because in those times you surround yourself with people, or you're surrounded by people, and you learn a lot from how people are, and how to move and adjust. So it taught me a great good lesson. I learned a lot of lessons, and you learn the people, like, it does all those things you hear in life. And I kind of was like put in the middle of it, and it's like, oh, okay, I see what that means now. I see what it is. I see why they say it takes a village, even if, because it does. And I see how a village shaped my child and made her what she is today. So, like I said, I
Wow.
cannot take full credit for that at all. It's definitely taking a village. And so when people say that, it's not just cliche anymore. For me, it's real life, and it definitely it's what it takes to make a real rounded individual.
Nice. Well said, Ron. Very well said. Now, I know, like I said, we always hear about single moms, right? And one thing single moms always say is, I don't know if I want to take somebody around my child. So, you as a single dad, how is dating for you?
Dating is not bad at all. Being When you talk about taking the right child, now I'm a single dad of a daughter. So
Right.
she's very, very overprotective. Um, so
Uh-huh.
it's not like I can't bring you around, because as soon as I start putting on some clothes and getting dressed, it's like, where you going? What time you coming back? Who you going with? How you know her? So I get just like a one, I get the third degree. Now, probably if I had a son, like, okay, I'll see you when you get back, and he going to play the video game, but and not so much when you have a daughter. So yeah, because hey, I want to know if who this is, and as long as you happy, daddy, then I'm good. Okay, yeah, that's okay. That's how that works. Okay, I'm good.
Okay. Um, your daughter, you're always posting on Facebook about all of your daughter's accomplishments. So this is your moment. I know you're going to probably give a big speech, right, at graduation, but we won't be there. This is your moment to let the world know how proud you are of your daughter and just take a moment and brag.
I'm definitely proud of her. She has made me proud, and I let her know that every chance I get, because she's accomplished something that most felt like she wasn't going to be able to. And to see what she has accomplished after the passing of her mother has been like wonderful to me. Like I can't imagine. And like I tell her all the time, I haven't lost a parent, because both of my parents are still. So I can't even tell her what it's like or what she's going through, but to accomplish what she has since her mom passed. Um, Freshman year at Laney, she was uh Miss Freshman, she's won. Miss JV Cheerleader, she's won. Miss Laney Pearls. And recently, her 12th grade year, she is now Miss Laney, which is the top honor in the school. So to see her get that crown and represent her school in parades at different functions, I mean, what parent wouldn't be proud? And the one thing that she's pushed for the most, and what made me proud, even though she felt like she fell short, she's second in her class, so she'll be salutatorian at graduation. So it's like when I got the notice and I got the letter, and it was like, hey, your child is salutatorian. For me, it was the biggest thing ever. So for her, it's like, yeah, I'm happy, but dog, I wish I'd have been valedictorian. And she's always been that overachiever, and I'm glad she didn't lose that. And part of her motivation drives, like, this is what my mama would have wanted, so I'm doing this for my mama. And I'm like, okay, that's great. And I was like, at the same time, it's like it's just a big thing. So she's getting scholarship offers from different colleges, so that's another big thing because now my pocket ain't got to go to the university, all of it anyway. So I'm like, okay, yes, like I'm just gonna hug you every day just because of that, because I mean, you did a good job. Although, like I said, she's always been over, because, like I said, for me, I was like, "You doing good?" Because for me, I was just happy to get out of school. I was just happy to go to college and graduate. It was like you put too much pressure on yourself. I'm like, relax a little bit. That's me. But yeah, she's done a great job. She's really been doing it.
That's so awesome. Not only is she well rounded, with activities, but she also has accomplished academic excellence. And please tell her that is a great accomplishment. I know what she wanted, but she's still going to get all those same great offers that she would have gotten had she been
Right,
valedictorian. And what she's doing is not second place.
right.
It definitely is not second place. It is still a high honor
Right, and
and a
that's
high
and
achievement.
I tell her that every day. I was like, you graduate second in your class, salutatorian,
Hmm.
all A honor roll. I'm like, you talking all A's? If you in salutatorian, just the all A part, because I'm like, it's gonna be some C's on my report card. I don't know. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Ron, you can't make me laugh because I'm choking.
I'm like, you don't want to make a B. I'm like, shoot, if I had A's and B's, I was like, I'd have made my parents proud. Like,
This is the Ron I know, y'all. He is always the funny guy in all situations. That's why I'm choking over here.
I'm like, she make a
um,
B, it's like it's the end of the world. I'm like, oh, not for me. I'm like, let me get two C's. I'm like, yes, I passed.
Ron, how are you preparing yourself for when your daughter leaves to go to college?
Um, I'm not doing anything different. When she leaves to go off to college, it's a time for me to dig into me doing more for my career, and and
Hmm.
taking that next steps, because it frees up some more of my time. So
Hmm.
basically, it's just more of my main focus now is to get her to graduation, get her moving to a dorm, and then come back and sit down and say, what's my next steps? Because now that I got her to a position where she is, and now I
Hmm.
got more time to myself, because now I ain't got to run to the games, and I ain't got to go to this function and that function. Now I can focus more on my career, and taking the next steps in that.
Okay. So before we go, what are some pieces of advice that you can give a single dad out there?
Some good advice is communication. Um, Always communicate with your, like you said in the beginning. There's so much stuff that goes on in this world, and the world that these kids live in now. You want to be able to have an open line of communications where they could talk to you about anything. If you can't do that, you may lose the child. So you always want to.
Hmm.
So for me, communication is the key. Once you establish that line of communication, everything else kind of flows. It's nothing that my daughter can talk to me about, and she feel comfortable coming. You don't want to always be in parent mode. And I know they say, oh well, you can't be your child's friend. It's not about being their friend. It's more about being a support staff, or a supportive person, as if you were a friend, so that when she has those moments where even in her friend circle that things are going wrong, and she needs to understand like why this person acting this way, or why they're saying this, or why they treating me this way, that she can come in and then have an open, honest conversation with you, and say, hey, Dad, this was going on at school. This is what's going on with my friends. And then you could talk about your experiences. Don't be afraid to talk to your kid about your experiences coming up, even if you did a lot of bad things you shouldn't do. So, like, I talk to my child about that. I tell her, hey, yeah, I climbed in a few windows. I did this, like, you have to let them know. It's like, it was a mistake. I shouldn't have did that. Maybe, I had to run out of somebody's room window or something, but you have to let your children know that you're human too. and you're just not a parent that, hey,
Uh-huh.
I was your age at one time, I did this. That's and see when you do that, that gives them the opportunity to say, hey, okay, my dad did it, so he does know what I'm going through, or my mom did, or whatever, whatever the situation may be. Because what that does is allow you the opportunity to let them know that, hey, this is the decision I made. This is how it turned out. Now, like I tell her, I don't want to make decisions for you. I kind of let her make her own decisions and kind of guide her through them. For one, I don't want her to say, well, I wouldn't have did this if you wouldn't have told me to. You forced me to do this. I don't force her to do anything. We sit down and we talk about it, and that's part of that communication. It's like, hey, Dad, I think I want to do this. Okay, well, so if you do this, these are the pros and cons, and this is how you have to evaluate your life. And so now what I'm gonna do is say, this is what I would do. Now I'm gonna let you make the decision on what you would do because it's your life, and you're gonna have to live with that decision, not me.
Hmm. I think that's really great advice, especially with telling the parents to let your kid make their own decision, because in life we don't want to have any regrets, right? And so if you are telling your child, do this and this, when you're not around them, they're not going to know how to make any decisions for themselves,
Absolutely.
right?
And even down to selecting her college, because I know parents that like, no, you got to go to school, you got to go to school, and go to college because this was. But what if they feel like college is not for them? What if they feel like, hey, it's another opportunity out there for me to do something different, but I'm forcing something on you. And like I said, my parents didn't force anything on. It was like when you turn 18, you got to make a choice, but you just not gonna lay here. You see what I'm saying? So they gave me the
Right.
opportunity to make a choice. They gave my brothers the opportunity to make a choice. And that's what you have to do with your kid. Do not force anything on them. Say, hey, you got to go to school because if you go to school, you're going to get a good job. You're going to make all this money. But what if their destiny is something else? They know what's inside of them. So you got to let them kind of grow into that.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's spot on advice. Do you have anything else you want to share before we wrap up today?
Oh, no, not at all. I thank you for having me. I'm glad I was able to do this for you. Anytime you need me, any topic, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to stop by.
Okay, now what other topics you want to talk about?
Hey, you just let me know. You make it's your show. You make the topics. I'll come in and I'll chat a little bit. How about that?
Okay, well maybe you could do some chat about golfing for beginners.
Oh yeah, just go out there. That's it. Do like I
Just
do.
do it.
Just bring a lot of balls, so when you lose them, you'll have an extra one in the bag.
Okay, thank you so much, Ron. I definitely appreciate you coming on, and congratulations to Amari. Well, all that she has accomplished and all that she is going to accomplish. This has been another great episode of At the Table with D. Monique. If you would like to come on here and talk to me, my contact information is in the show notes. If you want to suggest a snack or a topic, again, all the contact information is in the show notes. Connect with me on Instagram. You can find me at the table with D Monique, as well as on Facebook. Um, yeah, and just send me a message. Let me know what you guys think about the podcast. Until next time, be blessed and peace.
Join us next week for a new episode.